All right, in our quilting demo, we have already sandwiched the front of our fabric, our soft and stable, and the back of our fabric. So we're ready to go. I have a small ruler here and I have my chalk liner. I often use a chalk liner to mark just the start of what I'm going to quilt. It allows me to get started, and then I'm going to use my guide bar to help me. One of the simplest quilting techniques that I use is straight line quilting. And I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to take my chalk, and I'm simply going to draw a line. This is going to be the start of where I'm going to go. Now, if I really wanted to make smaller units, I could mark a whole lot of lines across with my chalk and my ruler. But I'm going to use my guide bar today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start by elongating my stitch. I like to quilt using between a 3 and a 3.4 stitch length. So I'm going to lengthen my stitch length. I have my walking foot on, and you can see I have the guide bar ready to go. So I'm going to get going right here. I've lined up the center of my needle with the line that I've already drawn, and I'm good to go. Just going to follow that first chalk line, and off we go. First line is done. There we go. Now my guide bar, I want to set that to, I don't know. Let's do an inch. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to just set it right where I know my needle is. And I'm going to move my guide bar, and I'm going to move it over to that 1 inch. I could make this 3/4 of an inch. I could make it a 1/2 inch. I could even use the foot itself, because my foot from the inside where my needle is coming down in the center to the outside of my foot is a 1/2 inch. I have a little marking right here that's a 1/4 inch. So I could even use the guide on my foot itself. So now what I'm going to do, as I come down, you can see the guide bar is going to come in here. I'm simply going to go, and I'm going to keep sewing. And as I go, and I'm going to work from left to right, or right to left, whatever direction I'm going. You can see, here we go, we do it again, and again, and again. But maybe you don't want straight lines. Maybe you want to use something more decorative. So one of my favorites in decorative stitching is the number 4 stitch. So I press my number 4, but I want it a little bit longer. So I want to lengthen it this way. Notice it looks like a wave. Ooh, that looks good. Maybe I want to make it a little wide. Oops, my machine says, nope, red line, can't do it. There we go. So maybe I want to go back in between, and I'm going to eyeball that right in between. I'm not going to mark it. And I want to put that wave right in between. I'm going to go a little faster, put my motor up. So now in between my straight lines, I have some funky waves going on. All right, so here we go. In our next channel, we have another set of waves. So you might notice that I'm using a gray thread, but my thread is actually a 40 weight. So it's a little bit heavier than the 50 weight that we might be using 2-piece as we move along. So this is a thicker thread, and it's variegated. So there's a tint of gray on this. So now I'm going to go back. I'm going to use my guide bar to do, whoops, got to switch it back. Straight line. Woo, almost forgot that. Whoops, here we go. I started off. Here we go. So this time I might want to try something else in that channel, in between those 2 straight lines. It's a good thing we're going to be trimming that off later. So we might want to go into our decorative stitch, And let's see, let's find something very cool. How about, oh, let's try that one. Let's see if we can make it a little bit, how about wider? Nope, can't go wider. How about we'll try that one? That looks pretty cool. We'll leave it just like that and we'll just do one. Whoops, hang on. Did it again. Don't want to start off our project. Let's start on the project. Now some of our decorative stitches will take a little bit longer to do, but they're going to have some great effects. So think about what decorative stitch and what's your purpose of using what stitch and what your outcome is as you move along. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you my favorite stitching. My favorite is just simply a gentle curve. It doesn't involve any markings. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start. And it's like swimming. I'm just going to go gentle curve. There's no thinking. It's very relaxing. You work from left to right, making that little long S. Take a look at that. Isn't that pretty cool? This is my favorite. I do this for a lot of projects. And then you can decide how you want it to curve, how close you want it to go next to the curve that you previously did, how deep you want your curves. This is my favorite. It goes really quick. I mean, straight lines go really quick too, but this gives it a whole different texture and look to your project. You can do it with your hands kind of farther away. Make it big and deep. Ooh, here we go. Check that out. So these are just a few of the quilting techniques that you could do when working with your projects. Straight line quilting, simple to do, easy to mark with chalk and a ruler, using a guide bar and your walking foot. We're using the walking foot for all of these. We've got some wiggle stitches. Check your decorative stitches in your machine. I bet you have lots of different decorative stitches. And then we have just simply a gentle curve. I hope you enjoyed this little video on quilting. Enjoy.